Briahna Joy Gray and Tezlyn Figaro had a discussion recently on Rising about the squad and about what this really is. Everything that we're seeing happening, everything that we've been complaining about, and how this all happened. And Tezlyn Figaro really hit the nail on the head. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but Tezlyn Figaro was a part of Bernie Sanders' 2016 campaign. She had some complaints about his campaign as well as Our Revolution that I heard about later on as to why she did not sign on for 2020. That's probably why. But she had a lot of things to discuss. And there's something she says here, and we really just have to do it. She's going to tell you exactly what this really is when we talk about the squad and this term of these progressives in Congress. She's really going to break it down. Listen to this.
On January 3rd, when the next Congress will assemble, Republicans are expected to have 222 seats in the House compared to an estimated 213 seats for Democrats. A new Republican House Speaker will need to be elected, and the GOP only has 4 Republican votes to spare. Current House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has already announced his bid for Speaker, but faces pushback from 5 members of his own party, including Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who said McCarthy lacks credibility across every spectrum of the GOP and is not a capable fighting force for the American people.
Representatives Ralph Norman of South Carolina and Andy Biggs of Arizona are 2 other hard no's. Bob Good of Virginia and Matt Rosendale of Montana have also voiced dissent, but could still be persuaded. Joining us now to discuss is host of Straight Shot No Chaser podcast, Tezlyn Figaro. Welcome, Tezlyn.
Thank you so much. Always glad to be here.
Great to have you. So now their demands are not very specific from what I can tell, and I frankly don't quite agree that Kevin McCarthy is not, an effective advocate of conservative positions. I think he's done a better job than Mitch McConnell actually of keeping all aspects of the conservative movement within the fold. But it is interesting to see, some Republicans actually demanding something of this would-be speaker and trying to get some kind of concessions. Something I understand is maybe a little less common, or has been in the past, not so common on the Democratic side.
Yep. So this is our transition from the Kevin McCarthy story, because they're starting off with that, about the fact that some of the members there are willing to say, no, I'm going to hold my vote unless you give us some concessions. And then some of them, like Matt Gaetz, are just like, yeah, I'm not voting for you regardless, but
Yeah, it's not common at all. Let's not beat around the bush. I'm an independent, so I can't, it doesn't matter what I think, who should lead the Democrat or the Republican Party, but let's just call, balls and strikes. Once again, the Republican Party is showing that at least, somebody has the fortitude to speak up and challenge and say, let's not just hand it over to just whoever they select, and let's put some demands on the table, unlike the Democrat Party and particularly progressives. Let's just call it what it is. Last year, they were very clear in starting a PAC called Team Blue, Hakeem Jeffries, to basically unseat progressives and to challenge progressives that were going against moderate seats.
And that's somebody that progressives are actually supporting. So I'm glad that she mentioned that. That is someone, Hakeem Jeffries, that progressives are actually supporting. That includes Ro Khanna too, because he issued a statement as well that he supports Hakeem Jeffries and he thinks he'll be a great choice. Meanwhile, this guy is trying to unseat progressives and prevent progressives from winning against incumbents. And they go on and cheerlead for this guy, for Hakeem Jeffries. That's how you know it's a joke. This is a joke. That would be like, I don't know, that would be like you trying to be someone's friend that tried to get your ass fired. It's like, hey, I know you tried to get me fired, but we're cool, right? That's what that would be like. It doesn't make any sense to me. All because they have to pretty much stand along party lines. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about what's good for the people. It's not really about what's good for the individual politician. A lot of times it's what does the party want? And what the party wants usually comes first. even if the leader of that party is screwing over other candidates and other politicians that ran grassroots campaigns like you.
Now, these same progressive leaders that all of the progressives gave your last $2 to, your last $5, crying in the stands, singing as if they were the next coming of Christ, they are sitting back and saying absolutely nothing. This is the time to see who is the real leadership on the left. So shout out to Hakeem Jeffries for, let me use the words of Rick Ross, he is the biggest boss thus far. He is
I just want to say this really quick too, and then I'll go back to this part here. When she talks about the money, she's right. Like, I saw it. I saw the people who had, this is my last $10, but I'm gonna give it to Bernie Sanders. This is my last $5, but I believe in you, AOC, so I'm gonna donate this money to you. Ayanna Pressley, I ain't really got it like that, but let me give you this last $3 or something I got. And every time these candidates would enter a room, and I was in Ayanna Pressley's district, so I know from personal experience, every time these candidates would enter a room when they were running in 2018, people would fawn over them and people thought they were the great new hope and people really believed in them. So people gave them their last because they believed that they would fight. She talks about people crying in the stands. I saw that shit too. So I think it's just some of those people are frustrated and pissed and said, screw this, I'm not going to support them anymore. And then some of those people, they see it, they're angry, but they'll get angry at you for telling them the truth about them. Because some of them feel like a fool because they gave them their last. And I think the lesson that we can learn from this is that politicians are not saviors. They're not coming to save you. The only people that are really going to save you are the people who are in your community that you align with and you guys work together and organize together. But these politicians, they're not coming to help you, at least not on the national level. Now, local politicians can be a little bit different. You have a better chance of talking to your city councilor than you do your representative in Congress. Let's just be real. But hopefully, this is a wake-up call for people. I know it was a big wake-up call for me.
On the left. So shout out to Hakeem Jeffries for, let me use the words of Rick Ross, he is the biggest boss thus far. He is absolutely going for the leadership and nobody is saying anything at all, and they will not say anything at all. That includes Bernard and everybody that rides with Bernard. The progressives are showing once again a lack of leadership, and I know they'll say that, oh, we're being strategic, but what I have come to realize that to them, strategic means being silent.
Boom, right there. So the part when she talks about strategy, this is another thing that they'll say. When you criticize them, they'll either come back with is, oh, we just got there. By the way, that's not true anymore. Or if you criticize them, they'll say, you got to understand strategy and what the strategy is. Okay. What's the strategy? Because you never hear them tell you what the strategy is. So I think she has a point when she says that the strategy is them just being silent. Yeah, because they don't say anything. They don't do anything. When Cori Bush, her office is told that they're not allowed to talk to people, what is that? What is that? And we'll hear them complain. AOC will do her Instagram videos and she'll complain and say that, oh, it's so much deception in Congress. It's so difficult in Congress. People don't know what I go through. I get so many death threats. I get death threats, boo. Did you know that? You know how many of us that do this, that get death threats because we telling you the truth? If it is that stressful for that woman, if it's that stressful, it's so painful. God, all these people after me, then why don't you just step down? But you see, she won't do that, no. Won't do that, no. Just an excuse for when people criticize. But there is no strategy. The strategy is then for this keep their mouth shut and do what they're told. They're supposed to take their marching orders. They're not supposed to really push back. They're not supposed to really lead anything. They're not supposed to disrupt the party. All they're supposed to do is take marching orders. And every now and then, they'll give them a little bit of leeway and say, okay, it's okay for you to criticize Joe Biden on this. It's all planned. All of it. The same reason why every now and then one of them is the rotating villain, and they'll be the one to push back on legislation that they know isn't going to pass any damn way, or they know is already going to pass. So this time around, it was Rashida Tlaib. That was her. She was the one that said, no, the railroad workers have a right to go on strike. So this time it's her. Next time it'll be Ilhan Omar. Maybe AOC may step in there. Jamal Bowman ain't going to do shit. We all know that's clear. Like I told you, he's the weakest link. But she's right. The strategy is being silent.
Yeah, so, we've all been alluding to this, but there was a moment 2 years ago that was described as the force the vote moment, where Democrats were in the same position Republicans are in now, where because the majority was so narrow and because you need 218 votes to confirm a speaker, the handful of squad members, the 4 to 8 of them, depending on how you count, had the power to actually hold up confirming Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House in exchange for any number of concessions, including committee appointments. We saw people like Katie Porter, who's been a very effective advocate for kind of populist economic policies, taxes on the rich, et cetera, get pushed out of the Financial Services Committee. They could have demanded all kinds of things, including a floor vote on Medicare for all, which was something that the progressives were talking about at the time. And they simply did not. They simply did not. And now when I have interviewed various progressives like Ro Khanna about whether or not they look back and have regrets, or why it is that Hakeem Jeffries is now in a position where he isn't being challenged by any progressives for leadership, they're giving the same excuse they gave 2 years ago, which is that just nobody's ready. We haven't prepared. We haven't had anybody positioning themselves in this way. And I wonder what you make of that. At a certain point, should progressives be looking to these people as leaders? At what point does it seem like almost like a planned ineptitude versus making genuine mistakes?
So Bree mentions making genuine mistakes. And here's the thing. I do want to be fair. Like the first year that they were in office, I expected them to make mistakes. Maybe even going into the second year. You're just starting. You don't know. You're trying to learn the ropes. I expected that to happen. But at this point in the game, it's become very clear to me that it's no more mistakes. These are just choices and decisions that they're making so that they can benefit their own political careers. And the rest of us just sit on the sidelines, sitting here wondering, like, why aren't you guys fighting for these issues? This is why you don't see them going to independent media anymore, because they have to know that people are not too happy with them. They have to know some of these podcasters that actually put them on the scene to begin with, because let's be real, had it not been for left independent media, I would have had no idea who Cori Bush was. I had no idea who Jamal Bowman was. I only knew about Ayanna Pressley because I was in her district. So you see the problem? They have to know that people are not happy with this. That's why you don't see them. You don't even see them go on to what? Kyle Kalinske had to be what? Bernie Sanders' probably biggest fan in the world. Have you seen Bernie Sanders go and talk to Kyle Kalinske since 2020? Do you see AOC go back on the Jimmy Dore show? Has she been back on Glenn Greenwald's show? No, but she go talk to Pod Save America, the same people who smeared Bernie Sanders' campaign. Make it make sense. The writing is on the wall. On the wall. That's why you don't see them. And people are like, why don't they? Have you guys tried to reach out to such and such and such and such? They ain't gonna come on here. They ain't gonna come on. If they won't go on to TYT, you think they gonna come on my show? The only one willing to even take the hit is Ro Khanna. He's the only one.
They've had a lot of time to plan at this point.
Yeah, let's just be clear. This is a con game. I'll go ahead and say it. It's a con game. Bottom line, progressives love talking about Democrats and moderates and, oh, you Democrats, oh, you neoliberals, you don't get it, you just blinded. No, so are you progressives. It is a con game. They have showed you time and time again that it's been all about funneling your money up and selling you a dream. My problem is not that
Let's hear it again because this is important. Listen to what Tezlyn says this is.
Doing mistakes. Because they've had a lot of time to plan at this point.
Yeah, let's just be clear. This is a con game. I'll go.
It's a con game. We were conned.
Ahead and say it. It's a con game. Bottom line, progressives love talking about Democrats and moderates and, oh, you Democrats, oh, you neoliberals, you don't get it, you just blinded. No, so are you progressives. It is a con game. They have showed you time and time again that it's been all about funneling your money up and selling you a dream. My problem is not that that I don't understand strategy. I run a strategic communications firm. I get strategy. I understand that things take time. My problem is, Bree, that they went out and lied to these people. They went out and lied to the progressive movement. They lied to folks who were poor, middle class, working class, and promised them a dream. I cannot stand a voluntary lie. Whether
Let's pause there for just a second. That's the part that really frustrates me the most too. They took money from poor people, working class people, and some middle class people. They took, like, it's, for me, it's the people who were working class and the people who were poor, seeing the looks on their faces when Bernie Sanders came to town, seeing the looks on people's faces when, like, AOC, people who volunteered and canvassed for AOC and all of them. Nick quit his job to canvass for Bernie Sanders. Like, seeing the looks on people's faces, like, given the last that they had, and watching these politicians, these so-called progressive politicians, happily take their money and not have any care in the world, knowing that they're not doing any of those things that they ran on. They have no care in the world. Cori Bush is out here publishing books, but she ain't did shit. This is a problem. And so it's really frustrating. It's so upsetting. I saw so many people who had so much hope and so much belief and really thought that things were going to change and these were going to be the people to do it. And to see them just take money from poor people and working class people and not give two shits and ignore their constituents and pretend like these people do not exist. It's fucked up. It's wrong. And for people who will tell me, well, you are a secret right wing because you're criticizing the squad. Fuck that. I know the people who gave them their last. I know the people who waited out in the fucking cold with me and 10,000 other people to listen to Bernie Sanders at Boston Common. I know the people who were going around knocking on doors, getting people to donate, who were phone banking, getting people to donate to AOC. I know those people. None of those people are wealthy. Most of those people are not even upper middle class, barely middle class. So yes, they fucked over poor people, and I have a problem with that. And if you don't have a problem with that, chances are you probably weren't fucked over. Period.
That's Biden, who volunteered to pass to have the back of black people that nobody asked him to do, whether it is the progressives, Bernard Sanders, and everybody else that had people crying in the stands, giving their last $2, whether it is on the Trump side of selling people on hopes and dreams of some magical wall that would be paid for by Mexico. I cannot stand the volunteer lie. These people know exactly what they're doing. They're worse than the moderates because you're taking the last $2 from the poor and working class, knowing damn well that once you get in the office, you're going to flip the script. And
that's right. Thank you. Say it again. Say it again. See, this is why when we say this at RBN, yes, they are worse than the moderates. Because the moderates don't pretend to be something they're not. They don't go around telling you they're running a grassroots campaign. You know exactly who their donors are. They'll happily say, thank you, Goldman Sachs. Thank you, Wells Fargo. Nancy Pelosi ain't out here trying to pretend like she running a grassroots campaign. But these people, they went to these low-income, poor neighborhoods and they took money from people. It's a hot mess.
Because you're taking the last $2 from the poor and working class, knowing damn well that once you get in the office, you're going to flip the script. And that's the problem that I have. Why not run on the truth? Why not run on the fact that saying, hey, we're going to get in, it's going to take us time. But they did not do that. They sold a hope and dream and a con game. And that is why I have such an issue with the progressive movement.
Why not run on the truth? Why not just be honest with the people and say, this is the agenda that we have. Let's be real. We're not going to be able to do changes right away, but this is the plan that we have. And this is what we hope to get done. Why did they run on this idea of we're going to get into the Democratic Party and we're going to take over everything? It's going to be a hostile takeover. And you have to remember who was in charge at that time. At that time, Donald Trump was president. So the Republican Party had the White House. It's easy to appear to be left when the president is the Republican. How left do they appear now that the president is a Democrat? How left?
I mean, why not? That is the question. What are they thinking? Are they insincere when they say they're committed to these things? Is it it's all about just raising money and then they don't particularly care about supporting a cause? Or they would say they're being more strategic than you, right? That they have some master plan that you're not privy to, or that they have a long-term plan, or they just
can't defeat,
or they don't know what,
yeah.
right? They've given up hope Pelosi, that it can work.
Yeah, crap. That's much, but it's no master plan. This is no rubbing of the hands. Oh, I got some master plan. The plan is the con game. Bottom line. This is why I keep trying to tell people it is important that you get involved on the local and the state level. As far as Congress, it's over with. It's a wrap. Get local and state leaders.
Did you guys hear that? This is what we've been telling you at RBN. As far as this is what I keep telling you, the congressional level, forget it. Chris Hedges explains this very well. Shama Sawant explains this very well. The system is fixed. It is designed a certain way unless you can change the actual system, which means getting money out of politics. This isn't going to change. This is not going to change. So she's letting you know there is no master plan. You need to focus on what you can do on the local level. And that's why I tell you guys, do you know who your city councilors are? If you don't, Google it. Find out who they are. They hold meetings in the evening usually. If you can't attend the meeting, the minutes are usually online. Talk to your city councilor because they control the budget. Talk to your mayors. A lot of them have a lot to do with the housing issues that you have. Some of them have sold out to private investors. Pay attention to that. Talk to your governor. Some of them walking around aimlessly. They don't even know what they're doing half the time or where they're coming or they're going. These are the people that you really need to get to know, and you need to organize with people that are in your community. That includes direct action, and that includes mutual aid, and that includes any type of fundraising that you can do for the better of your community. Because I'm going to let you know right now, if you're in a ballot initiative state, that includes ballot initiatives. Come January, start organizing with people so that you can get ballot initiatives getting ready for the next year on the ballot. You got to start doing that in January. Get those public banks that Roger Meadows talks about. When people say, how's the state going to fund it? You have a public bank. You ain't got to worry about that. So I think I'm hoping that more people are listening to this message about paying attention to what's happening on the local level and not so much focusing on what's happening on the congressional level, because you can do more electorally on the local level. And that's not to say that's going to be rainbows as well. There's going to be challenges that you're going to hit there as well. But I'm going to go ahead and keep it real. Shama Sawant has probably done more for people in Seattle than the squad has done for people in their districts. And Shama Sawant's on the local level. So this is what you got to do. Even Dr. King and Malcolm X, even they realized that. Before there was the civil rights movement, that started locally first. They didn't just say, all right, let's get people together and let's go march on Washington. They organized in their communities first. That's how you do it.
When I say local, I'm talking about city commissioners that have executive power to make the decisions, that can make effective change right now in your city. Get on board with folks who are running for state house, a state rep, state senate, that you have a little bit more access to. Because as far as Congress is concerned, I think we're behind the ball, and it's too far gone to right the ship. Unless you have that local leadership that is putting pressure on those folks in Congress that say either you do or else, or we're going to make sure that you lose, nothing will ever change. The only thing that a politician's fear is the ability to lose their seat, period. So as long as progressives continue to keep giving their last $2 and $5, I said it last year, Brie, on your podcast, as long as they can continue to give your last $2 and $5, you're going to continue to get played, period. We can see it. Where's Bernard? Paging Bernard. Hello, Bernard, are you around? Why is Bernard not saying anything? At the end of the day, they're going to sit there, they're going to shut up and shut out to Hakeem Jeffries for showing them exactly how it's done. And that does not mean that I'm supporting him and his policies. What it means is he is literally taking this seat, and every last one of them are saying nothing at all. They're going to sit there, they're going to take it, and they're going to like it.
Yeah, and some people have said that they're afraid that he's actually going to be worse than Nancy Pelosi in some ways. He's very explicit about his commitments, for example, to kind of unlimited funding for Israel. He's referred to Israel as the 6th borough of New York.
This guy is really bad. Like I'm telling you guys, Hakeem Jeffries is really bad. And Tezlyn was right. They did just sit there and take it. They didn't push back on Hakeem Jeffries.
I mean, he's as you mentioned, Tezlyn, backed the super PAC that was designed to target progressives and make sure that they don't win elections. I mean, he is the final boss of progressives in a lot of ways in terms of the kind of politician you want to defeat. And for him to be kind of cruising into this leadership position without any public pushback, it seems, from the people who are supposed to be the left vanguard is perhaps not surprising, but it is disappointing to those in the left. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tezlyn.
Well said. Well said. I mean, they really hit the nail on the head. Like, again, that's someone who was a part of Bernie Sanders' campaign. So she knows. I recommend watching, if you go on YouTube, I recommend watching more videos with her because she's had other interviews as well. I think she had an interview, with the Breakfast Club, where she talked about like her experience as well. So I think definitely check that out. I'm gonna go to some of the comments here, I think. Thanks for the super chat as well. The famous Tez laugh. They have no master plan. No, they don't. Thank you for the super chat as well, Roger. Bernie handing over email lists was ultimate betrayal. Yep. Thank you for the super chat. Room. Thank you for what you do. Your anger is my anger. Oh. And thank you for the super chat, Rosie. I canvassed for Bernie and he came to speak. I watched a man try to get out of his wheelchair to hold Bernie's hand. I couldn't stop thinking of him and so many in need when Bernie left his people behind. I could show you guys something. Let's see if it's still, because I remember some of this stuff, man. Let me see if I find it. It's really sad. It's really sad. I want to show you something. So I told you guys that I was at the Bernie rally here in Boston. I think I'm gonna have to mute this because at some point I have music in this, but I can put this up here. So this was the Bernie rally here in Boston. And yeah, that's the Boston Common across the street. So let me show you. I want to show you. Now, this was just the beginning of the line. Now, that was in the beginning when I got there. This just goes to show you, like I said, that was just the beginning. The line started to wrap around. And then I'm going to show you. Of course, I had to show you the porta potties. Sorry. Yeah, didn't I say the line goes all the way around? Yes, so the line went all the way around to Park Street Station. Yeah, I thought there was music on this. That's why I cut it. So then here's the crowd. Did someone ask when this was? This was 2020, Desert Nancy.
Sees it the way my generation sees it.
Bernie! Who are we? Bernie!
So I just want you to see how many people, and I'm in here well, this is me holding the camera. It was really cold. It was freezing that day. Like we got there, I think at 7:30 in the morning. He wasn't supposed to appear until, I think he was supposed to appear at like 1, but they started early. But it was cold. And so I had those little heat packs that you put in the hand warmers. Like you go like that, and you put them in your gloves. I had to put them in my boots because it was so cold. So you see all these people that stood outside waiting for Bernie Sanders, right? And that's a union rep. And then Bernie came out. You see that?
Thank you very much.
All of these people, you guys. And then I'm not gonna play this whole thing, obviously, but I'm gonna show you. I got a shot of the crowd somewhere. There it is. Because I want you to see how many people were there. Right there. You see all those people? That's on the Boston Common. And that doesn't include the people on the other side, because I was only on one side of it. And then what else did I thought I got another one. See, some of this I can't play because of the music. And that's all the people leaving Boston Common. All the people leaving Boston. Look at all those people. You see that? It was over 10,000 people there. That was my first vlog. First vlog that I ever did was the Bernie Sanders rally. That's right, Bryce. We were so excited about that. Exactly. That's why it's hilarious to me when people are like, oh, you're being a secret right wing. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, but we will criticize Bernie Sanders. I will criticize any politician because I'm not a hero, a politician worshiper. I don't worship politicians, and you shouldn't worship them either. That's the problem.